agenda. If we could all stand and pledge to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We will start with comments from the audience regarding items for future consideration. If you have something you'd like to discuss, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address, and we'll put it on the record. Anybody? Don't make a mad rush. Okay, seeing none, we can move to the consent agenda. Item number 4, approval of staff resignation. Do I have a motion for approval? Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, reports. Let's start with the CISA service contract. What do we have? Small side?
Dennis was the one who started the cover, and he wasn't able to be at the board meeting tonight, but he left some information. And he says, if a question arises as to the increase in CISA contract for 2013-14, the main reason is the implementation of the search model. As you recall, we talked about that a little bit at our last meeting. As I mentioned at the last board meeting, a district our size should have approximately 22 children identified using the Wisconsin current average for autism identification. We have 42 district-wide. The implementation of the search model will allow staff to adopt a common language and structure our approach to provide specialized instruction for individual students on the spectrum. Information on the search framework can be shared. This approach will allow us to serve as many students on the spectrum within the district as opposed to outside placements. So that's the best I can give you right now. The increase in the special ed area, which can be a mystery to many people, including people that have done it for a living if they haven't done it for a couple of years. If you have any specific questions, this is on discussing, or actually this is just a report. So if you have any specific questions, you can either ask them now, and between the administrators in the room, we can try to answer it, or if we don't know the answer, we simply will write them down and make sure we get the answers for us so we can make that decision.
What I had asked for, and I think I have emailed to me, but I didn't have a chance to see it because it came in late, was I wanted to know how this could compare to last year.
I'll let Doug take that one.
Last year, the grand total was approximately $70,000. The big difference is some of these went up $10, but the Search Academy, we had $14,750. The Autism Consultative Coaching is $30,000, and then down at the very bottom, the Extended Transitional Support Services, 40 hours, another $5,000. Those three items pretty well make up the $50,000 difference between this year and next year.
So if I understand Dennis correctly in what he wrote, this is a preventative training type of, he's putting the dollars into training the staff to be able to deal with our students.
And then how does this fit? I mean, obviously it's allocated in already in our budget. In our budget, we have these numbers figured in for next year.
We would make sure that the budget makes sure. Certainly, it's a lot to absorb, so as you process it, if you think of any other questions, Dennis is our best expert in the field, and we have some strong support from him.
Any other questions on the CISA contract?
There is, I wondered what that search was, and I was able to get some more information on that and why we're doing it, because I know that if you invest early in our autism programs, our children really do so much better. So I'm happy, I checked into it a little bit more, and I was really happy to see it going in that direction of some of the cognitive development and making sure. So that's some of the latest information on that. So I thought it looks like a really great investment, and the numbers picking up. So.
Anything else on that? If not, we'll move to 5B, Personnel Committee report. Personnel Committee met last
We did. We met last Monday. A couple of things that we talked about is we did discuss the coach's salary, which is later on our agenda for today. And the Personnel Committee is recommending that the board approve that. We did ask for additional information, which was in our board packet, so thank you for that. We also talked about restructuring of the athletic director position, which again is on our agenda later on under old business, and we're also recommending that the board approve that. And we have spent a little bit of time, we were in a little bit of time crunch because the finance committee met after us, so we talked a little bit about superintendent evaluation form. The last couple of years we've only done evaluation based on goals, and so we had a brief discussion, looked at a couple of different models, and Dr. Holtz had passed out some articles on the superintendent evaluation process as well, so we'll be discussing that again in the future, so nothing on that.
Okay. Any other questions for let's move to the policy committee. I know they met earlier that week.
Yeah, we met on Friday, May 24th, and we set our goals. Our goals are going to be short-term right now. We're going to, committee has agreed to review the 500 series and the 100 series policies. Luann is going to explore what the WSAB offers as far as programs, and to see if we need it, see if they're a fit for us. She has some working knowledge of the people there. And then we asked that any board members, administration, or the teacher representatives, if they had any suggestions on policies that they saw over time have seen, if they need to be reviewed, to bring it to our attention. If you could do that by this Friday, that'd be great, because we're meeting 2 weeks from Friday, a week from this Friday, June 21st at 8 a.m. And that's it. Unless,
The finance committee report to you is not here. Stephanie, can you do that?
The finance committee met on June 3rd, so just this past week Monday. We discussed some questions about a flexible spending plan. We also asked for documentation for the salary code for the co-curricular activities. That'll be later on the agenda. We also discussed some of the items in the audit and the exceptions in the audit. Again, the liability for the retirement, the OPEB liability came up, but again, that's something the audit is not a red flag, but it is something that's noted. And then also, we talked about iPad funding and about how much there would be for the hardware to make these purchases. And it was still at that time undecided if we are even able to charge parents for iPads or for the software. We can't see any businesses reselling things, so it may not be possible for us to sell them to those as well. And at the time when we met, it was decided or said that the parents will only be responsible for repair costs or replacement costs on the iPads, and some funding from the we reviewed the budget, and specifically the budget for the tech plan. We also were noted activation aid estimates will be available on July 1st, which will help fund the budget and get us ready to take budget for next year. Doug had asked if we could briefly consider amending the budget to reflect the increase in revenues. Historically, that's not something that we do. And the committee recommended that we not amend the budget. We talked about some market value adjustments and salaries, and the thing that we closed with was restructuring the athletic director position, and that will also be on the agenda later for another discussion. And that was roughly
No, very well done.
Was there any recommendation, for either the co-curricular, coach's salary schedule or the instructional officers?
The co-curricular, it looks like, based on my notes, that everybody was comfortable with the co-curricular activity schedule and funding for that. As far as the market value adjustments on the salaries, I don't see that there was a final recommendation, if I remember correctly, maybe that's where split.
Thank you. Okay, any questions for either Kim or Stephanie, who are on the finance committee as well as for this? Okay. In that case, let's move on to 6A, discuss and take possible action on the restructuring of the athletic director position. Are you gonna lead this discussion?
I did the cover sheet on it, but it was basically, asking that you give strong consideration and approve the high school principal proposal of restructuring the position. We had a lot of discussion on it, but basically the proposal is to have a full-time 612 athletic activities director and a part-time 3-hour assistant principal. The assistant principal currently could be a current teacher who is certified to split their duties between teaching and being an administrator, and we do not anticipate any increased cost by restructuring as proposed.
Did you talk about the flexibility of the start time and
Oh, yes.
is that gonna be part of the job description?
Yeah, we don't want to have them starting at 7, we're looking at 7 and 8. So, yes, they'll definitely have the flexibility as well as the flexibility on days. Where you have a total number of contract days instead of 260 or 20, whatever it happens to be. So it's a good proposal, a good add-on to the proposal.
Any other questions for, go ahead, Lynn.
I am not real crazy about, I think this is fine, I can support this position moving forward. I'm just a little concerned about having someone be a teacher and an assistant principal, because how do students, when do they know which hat that person is wearing? And I would just be concerned about that. If that .3 could stay an assistant principal, I would prefer that. Then to take that .3, and if I'm understanding it, and then breaking it down to being some teacher and .3 administrator, is that what you're talking about, Denise?
Do you want to explain it real quick and then I'll jump in? I believe we also, didn't you assign an assistant principal to cover a class for a while? So, I mean, it's, with, the kids, and that's actually, when we hired a principal from a while ago, that was the role they were in, so they haven't done it before. It doesn't mean that it has to be that. I mean, you could find someone at the same amount that would be a recent hired principal as well that would want to do that. You look for the best, obviously, but either way, the cost should be a lot.
I do like that it would be, a teacher, somebody within the school that's familiar with the students, familiar with the policy, you know, all the policies, and I guess the culture. Rather than
Any other comments or questions? The notes I made on this one were, Lou and I share those same concerns we have, is, you know, when you start wearing two hats, it can be difficult. You know, you're asking this person to be an administrator and a teacher. And so, you know, I caution administration to be aware of that. Make sure that you choose the right individual in that role. I think that can be very good. The other thing I'm concerned about is, this is kind of a slippery slope, is it's part-time now, but then all of a sudden, you know, a year from now, it's, you know what, you really need another full-time assistant principal and an athletic director, at which time we get, you know, finance committee. So, I know for myself, I'm gonna have my antenna up about this. So, I'm confident you can administer it, Jackie, and, you know, we'll choose the right people, but it's something I'm asking. Go ahead, Lou.
Too. I think that as we start to add time to, or in this case, making a more reasonable position, it looks like the athletic director, right? So if that person has more time to devote to those activities, I'm always looking for what's the impact on our students. How does it enhance our programming? How does, you know, what more can that person be doing now that they're full-time? So it's outcomes. You know, a lot of times you step in and I just think your recommendations are good. It's my job to ask how are they going to impact the students in the long run. That's what we want to see. So I think that it makes sense from a time standpoint, but I'd sure like to see some more outcomes from it. Some of these teams step into the league. And I'm sure, you know, I think about athletics and their attachment, and I may not know enough about how we do it here, but their attachment to curriculum sometimes, and to give them credit for, you know, there's some probably innovative things out there that a person that can just focus on that might be able to bring to the district if you don't already do this. On the administrative side than the athletic. And that makes sense.
And this person is gonna be one person, you're trying to have one person to be assistant and the vice principal? Would be the same person the whole year?
That is one of the things that bring somebody in. See different. Any other comments? If not, so,
Make a motion to approve the restructuring of the athletic director position. Second.
okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved, 6-0. Too bad, Mr. Anderson. show up. That's all. Anyway. All right, discuss and take possible action on fifth grade staff. Mr. Ford?
Yes. And the cover sheet is kind of self-explanatory. You might remember a couple years ago that we were in a similar situation. So when we had our elementary principals meeting, we thought we should bring it back to you guys to see if we still felt the same way or which way you wanted to go. And then a couple of you did follow up with additional questions, and Chris responded as well. Basically, we're pretty much at max right now at Hills Corners Elementary. We have 54 kids right now registered for Edgerton Elementary, which is 26 per class. It's the only two-section class we have. We are going to have 3 sections for at least the next 6 years because of the enrollments we have to pay for up through 5. The second part of that is you would most likely increase this 5th grade anyway going into 6th, so you wouldn't have to reduce staffing at the 6th grade level. The cost, and I kind of explained the cost, they gave us the open enrollment reimbursement just in the past couple of weeks, and it came in around $6,500. And so just doing the math, if you brought in 14 to 17, you would by far and away have more income coming in than any related costs. So basically it's it really is a board decision. We can run with 2 sections of 26, or we can bring it back down to about 22 per section if we add those extra kids. And so I mean, when I talked with Chris today, his final preference is he would rather do it now so that we're going to get used to that 3 sections per grade level. But obviously we can make either one work as a board.
So the max amount of students we're gonna put in the class is 23?
We try to max
go up
it
to
at
17?
25. We don't want to start the year at 25. Historically, we add more kids at the elementary levels through the summer.
But if we had 17, that brings us to 23 class.
Yeah.
So you're gonna go up to 25 at the most?
Somewhere between 14 and 17 we should add now. If you wanted to do it, the reason we'll bring it to you now is if you wanted to do it, now would be the time to do it because the kids are fresh on the waiting list. And we have, I think, you told me we have a little over 20 kids on the waiting list. Those kids are on everybody else's waiting list as well, so they'll start taking those kids, and then the waiting list will shrink. So last year when you gave us approval to add whatever was in August, we actually couldn't add as many as we were given approval for because of the pandemic. I agree with you 100%. I did a broad range just because of families. I don't know where they come in, but if, if there's a sibling in 3rd and 1st, we would, that's why I did 14 and 17, so we would limit it to 14.
There's already a teacher there for the 3rd section?
Now, one of the things that makes sense is we would hire one parent early. I did kind of corner Chris. I mean, he's got the room, he's got, because they had us, but they had us, and most of the teachers and full staff, anyway, something like that. So they had some sections, and then they just had some sections.
So if I heard at the finance committee that you would go to most of the
he is gonna get some additional furniture. He's either gonna get it this year or next year, regardless, because he has three sections coming up. This is the small, the deep size box, so to speak. The rest are a lot, there's a lot more bigger now. And so there's three sections from K4 all the way up. So, whether he buys them this year or next year, he has to buy it again. This year, if we get it to open enrollment, then I think the rest of the
I have a couple of things I want to clarify. All right, what is the probability that we will get 14, 17 open? Probability greater than 70%?
Yeah, because it closed last week Friday. So now the parents are just getting their letters in the mail. And what we would do is if you approve it tomorrow, we would have our individual contact those parents.
So let's assume the lower number at 14, that basically puts us at 68 students divided by, so you're under 20. That's great, 14 times 6,500, this is a net contributor. So we don't need to make any changes to the preliminary open enrollment.
No, because those are your, the ones we have to identify at the beginning of the year. Then the policy you've been following with Tom in the sense that if you kind of set the numbers in the preliminary staffing projection, if we're a number of students short in August, we can bring one or two in without bringing it back to the board. But that's usually just when you were too good. Not always.
Sorry.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried 6-0. And the next item is the curricular coaching salary and schedule. There has been additional information provided. It's been vetted by both the Finance and Personnel Committee. Does anybody else have any questions or comments?
Well, I'm really glad that they included the middle school and elementary school.
Okay.
Other than, when the original coaches, or when the original club salary was presented, it wasn't presented that there were two different salary ranges. There were 3 tiers and 4 clusters. So I was kind of, interested in why it was presented this way, because actually it's more difficult in the first couple of years when a new coach takes over than it is as they have experience with it. So to me it's almost opposite, or I would pick one rate and that's what people would get.
I think we are going to. It used to be, now it's my right,
You're absolutely, that was the former last contract with the Finance.
Then it concludes that with the recommendation.
I see why where the confusion came in, because in the board packet, they put in, appendix A first, which was, 0 to 3 and 4 plus. And he's doing like, as items, that he's going away from that, or his recommendations go away from that to one standard, salary schedule, period.
I didn't see that in this. That was in our last one, I couldn't find it in this packet, so I would rather bring that forward before we vote on that, we need some time. I don't see that in this, that should have been with this report.
Is it in the first one you sent
Yeah,
out?
it was in last week.
Jackie, is it in the first one you sent out? Maybe?
The original proposal from Mr. Ellerson was for club advisors. And then we had, the personnel committee had asked for additional information, which I thought that's all that was included in the board packet was the additional information. So, but based on the agenda, we're not voting on the club advisor recommendation. We're voting on co-curricular coaches' salary schedule. So I'm very.
That's the co-curricular is the club slash coaches. And the coaches are exactly what you presented.
I'm looking at, it says extracurricular salary comparison. Okay, and it lists all the coaches and gives a comparison to school. And then the increase would be added.
So you would add the suggested
I see.
increase to the Whitnall? And his goal was to hit the average, so it should end up on the average of 34. What's the average? He's taking the first one, the basketball. 34.11 plus the 10.39, and 44.50 is the average.
So the recommended amount that we would pay is what
They show it in parentheses, which normally you would think is a reduction as opposed to a plus. That's where I get it. The last column actually would be added to the current.
I don't think this was meant to be a report. See, we got a report 2 weeks ago. This was the additional information that's what this is. So we don't have the report in front of us, at least not in this packet that we're supposed to vote on tonight. So we either vote on what we saw last time, or we wait until we get the report in front of us, so we know for sure what we're voting on. And I think I'd rather wait and get everything now, so we know for sure how the whole thing looks, because right now it's a little too confusing, even for me to get my arms around what are we voting for. I support the concept, but I just want to be a well-informed voter.
That would be fine, because it is scattered over two,
Right.
at least two board members, or two, board meetings.
The committee looked at it, so I couldn't vote that.
Yeah, that's easy enough to do.
And I don't see the recommendations for what we want to do.
We should get that,
Right?
put it out in, so bring it back with that.
And the personnel committee only had the club advisors information. We did not have the other information. So this was,
But there's no recommendation anyway for elementary or middle school.
That's not in here.
and then I did have a question on football because I know that they have a lot of coaches on football. So is this really reflective of the amount that it's going to cost?
And then we have
We have a lot of assistants.
He has got the assistance in the original proposal, so it's, yeah, we'll put it all back together, and somebody asked for a comparison, didn't I send that out or not?
That question came up at the finance committee, because just the question you're asking, and it wasn't clear if some are volunteer and some are paid. We didn't have that comparison.
Yeah, and he did that research, but it didn't go out to the deputy treasurer, that was just that number of assistant paid coaches. I know he did it.
I also might recommend when you look, I know you took just a straight average of the schools listed here, including our current salary. I would suggest, in order to smooth out the numbers, is you eliminate the lowest and the highest. When you look at that's the realistic average numbers. I did a couple of those on the margin, it brings it down a little bit. Not huge, but it does bring it down, it saves the district some money. But when you have a Pewaukee that's paying $51.77 for varsity basketball and football coach versus our $34.11, you tend to see the budget do that. Realistic. Take up the lowest and the highest.
Usually us,
Well, it has been because we haven't done it. So, and that gives you, I think, a better idea of where the market is. And that's what we're trying to do. This will come back then, next meeting, after we get the addition. You know what information we need?
have you ever held on?
All right, so no action will be taken at 6. Yeah. 6D, discuss and take possible action on insurance rate. We're not going to take action on that today, but I did ask that we have a discussion on this. And I want to thank specifically Stephanie for putting together some talking points for myself for this, for our discussion. So I'm going to go on a couple of things. And again, this is discussion purposes only. I think, and let me just make a couple of referencing comments here. I think we all know, and probably people like Stephanie and Nancy know all too well, that the changes in the healthcare laws in Obamacare have a major impact on school districts. And it's a very complex law, as you know, and staggered start dates, etc. So we need focus on this. I just felt compelled that probably need such great focus on it. The committee is focused on insurance. So, I'd like to have a discussion around the benefits of forming this committee, the detriments of that, what should be the scope of that committee, what would be the purpose of it, what would be the tenor or tenure of it, should it be a full separate committee, should it be a subcommittee? So I'd like to get some input from board members on just what should be the purpose and scope of this committee. I'm going to draw the expertise from Stephanie. Why don't you start with what should be kind of the purpose and scope? Should it be limited to just healthcare? Should we look at property and casualty, or where should be our focus?
Longest I've ever spoken up at a board meeting since 6 months. Basically, again, this is a reaction to the different water systems. And it is tough, but one of the things that I've learned over the years is that the more information that you give to your customers and make them understand, the better decisions that they're going to make, and the more comfortable they're going to feel about what they have. Where this is a benefit to the district extend, all the more reason to form a committee and have input from staff as what healthcare should and what they'd like to look like going forward. We are limited in that this doesn't apply to accidental or physically responsible questions. We need to be focused on and what to listen to. And the other benefits should probably not be part of the discussion because this is our function. But that includes vision, includes dental, that includes so it's not being done, but it's not the benefits of having this as a permanent committee is that we can monitor and we can reevaluate. We can make sure that what we're doing for our employees and the district is the best that we can put together. However, the board, none of the board members, it's not our benefit. It's not our insurance. So from that standpoint, a temporary committee besides the chairman, should we have it would be fine to make it a temporary committee. And that's, you know, that's in a nutshell.
Excellent, thank you. Nancy?
We used to have an insurance committee that was on, staff sat on, and, I sat on it for the first quite a few years when I was on the board, and I did not find it productive at all, and neither did anyone else, and so it kind of expanded. With, insurance changes coming on the road, January 1st, you know, it's already June. We gotta make some quick decisions. And, I think that, while it's great to have employee input on what they'd like to see, I think that it's difficult, because obviously employees want more than what employers can provide, and, a lot of times it causes a lot of our feelings. And then I kind of also like to hear from Doug on how he feels about this, because he's been working with our insurance consultant, and I don't really know where they are with this. And, you know, while, I mean, I deal with this insurance, we probably meet on this a couple times a month with our insurance consultant. And, so, you know, we kind of have a plan on what's going to happen on January 1st. Do we have a plan? I don't know.
I talked with, our rep at DSP weekly, have been for about the last year, regularly scheduled 11 o'clock on Wednesday call, and they are anxious to get going, laying out for everybody to see where we need to be, what it's going to mean in terms of changes in the structure of our fund, the cost of our fund, and I've had them on hold. We have this committee issue resolved, hoping that we get approval for that, so that I can call Mary tomorrow and say, we're ready to get started, let's have a meeting, even if the first meeting is like her and Stephanie and I to lay out the groundwork of where, where we think is most appropriate to go, given the nature of our employee base and so forth. So they're ready to go, I'm ready to go, and make sure that we're, in place we need to be by next year. Same reason she wanted to do that for you.
And Nancy, while I certainly do understand that you want to put your hands in what you need, it's that this things tend to get overtaken. I agree with you. But which is why I was looking for the state and small communities and senior insurance communities, which was before. because there was me and the budget manager, always looking to come up with
Any other questions? I was looking at this before because the committee is too large and too diverse, and we had competing needs or wants, should I say?
Certainly the first reason it was because of the way too much. Way too much. And the discussion never revolved around what's coming in the future, what's healthcare looking like. All it revolved around was how much we've been spending and basically that's pretty much it. Where are the rates going? Basically what I saw was
What we, going on with what you said, healthcare benefits then is part of the negotiated settlement, so really, the impact of the committee was kind of bound and restricted by that, whereas now, when they make the recommendation to the board, and therefore, having that input, as you suggested, if you could keep it fun, so that people know why it's doing that. That's more powerful.
We will include, what the judge, that is, we will be permitted. Include that? We're gonna lean on them for their knowledge.
But, what I'm hearing is that kind of the goal is to ensure that we provide, first of all, that we're within the law. Given. Number two is that we provide a competitive, compensation, all-in compensation that we can really benefit will attract quality personnel. I also heard that we should keep it smaller than larger. And that the tenure of the committee or the tenure of it should be temporary. But given that the voluntary participation period, so, did I miss anything? I would agree with you, Nancy. We need to do this sooner than later. So you'll see this happening. Extremely important. Nancy, your company's been helping me. I'm hearing strong support for this. Whoever had the phone. Oh, you were a student.
Before I'm not in favor of doing this committee. Do you think that this is an administrative function, as largely personnel and finance. So I think we're going, I just don't favor it being a committee. I think though that we have great expertise on the board here. It might lend itself to a few meetings to bring back some information and that, being a committee, just without making it official, but allowing our expertise on the board to board members to work with administration on the recommendations that they're going to be bringing forward. I'm all in favor of that. I love the experience of the staff. I think we can do the administration service to help them with that.
Well, I know my recommendation is people of that committee are the ones that I like the formality of the committee because they come to these meetings and it's good. If we just have this kind of laissez-faire approach, I don't think it's good.
Well, we could give them a clear charge, though. I mean, we could create more of a task force. Because I think we should keep the committee very more of the rather than creating a whole committee. Because we do have to change the policies. When we get our policies changed back in time now, we can create these temporary with the charge. So that's good. We want it to be working for the board as opposed to for the district. I would figure something fraudulent in there.
Well, the comment and question was, when I was at the state business managers conference first week in May, it seemed like every other item on the agenda was the healthcare reform. And there's differing opinions out there. I would like, whether it's the committee or the director of administration, to say that we would like to proceed with the belief that as the law has been written, it's going to stay that way. People are saying, well, the next election will all go away. I don't believe we're going to afford to do that. We have to approach it as if the 2,700 pages of that law allows it to be enforced. It's amazing. I saw, for example, statistics, somebody was in a survey, over 40% of the people in the country didn't even know it was a law yet. Another huge number of people who thought the Supreme Court had thrown out such a law. So, I mean, I think we need to approach it from the worst possible scenario and not fall short and meet up to those financial penalties that are due.
I guess only because we don't have to. That's how I would tell you. Other comments?
We should really take a look at this right away then in terms of our policies, because we have committees, a whole list of committees here. We're supposedly functioning as a committee of the whole board, which means we have two meetings a month. When you're a committee of the whole, you usually don't have all these standings. We have both right now, so I think it's a conversation we continue to have about, well, if we're not really a committee of the whole, and next time why are we a committee of the whole? So it's just a question.
Because the committee that will take input from those things.
Well, it's my
Otherwise,
understanding
we'll be
that
here all night.
senators do that. No, we typically don't have all these other little committees, that's all I
When you
know.
say they don't,
Committee of the whole.
you say,
Other boards, I'm just saying, there's different ways to structure boards, committee of the whole versus two meetings a month, and I'm with you, I'm not trying to link them. But we just wanna look at them, this says we're supposed to have curriculum, we're supposed to have inter-district transfer, so policies need to be cleaned up. I think though that you can create this temporary committee and I would prefer to do that, and that doesn't have to be, but we just make temporary committees. I think that's
Yeah, when we get to the point of comments from the school board regarding that, we can suggest that we look at this policy very quickly.
No,
So that we
we'll look at
can.
it in our policy. Yeah, it's on the agenda, we're good.
The purpose of this discussion was to seek input. I think we got some valuable input. I think we all agree that this particular issue is a top priority issue. And there's repercussions if we don't comply, number one. Number two, it has a finance. So it touches upon a lot of our, the entire district as well. Any other comments or questions on this particular topic?
So I would just suggest that Doug, you don't hold them back, the consultants, and let them present some information and whatever recommendations that they're gonna start with. You can send them to Stephanie and I, we can take a look at it, because we don't necessarily wanna lose another 2 weeks before we vote on this. And then that's the end of June, and, so, June's better.
I told Stephanie earlier tonight, I'll first call in the morning.
You are a resident expert. You know where the talent lies. Okay. Next topic, 6E, discuss scoreboard advertising alternatives. This is something I actually put an eye in casual conversation. I don't think a worthwhile conversation. We have a beautiful facility out back there, and we have this great scoreboard, and I think it's, would behoove us to look and see if there's revenue alternatives for us with that scoreboard. I've had follow-up discussions with Doug and Joel and maybe some others on the board. The conclusion I kind of drew was, we don't have a lot of selling advertising space, nor do we have the time. If that's not the purpose of board members, if you want to undertake that, or you have somebody that you think might be interested, approach that company or individual. But I really don't have an expectation that we have administration be held accountable for selling it. We're in the purpose of education, not selling advertising. So, what you might want to explore is looking at outside vendors or companies that do this and take a commission, that's fine, that know how to get out. So one of the things I'd like to recommend that we have discussion on and investigate is partnering with a vendor to sell that out. So when we have that discussion, when you brought it up, we got a big scoreboard, let's use it up, I agree. Any other alternatives?
Either static ads or video ads or combination of.
Well, it was brought up in the finance committee, well, probably a year ago. Another parent and myself brought this information to that committee, and the committee at the time said it would be good to have it incorporated in study, in class. And that's where it fell. Never proceeded past that. Myself and this other gentleman, run the ordinance, willing to do it at the time. We had done research on that and on the bricks for the walkway. And Mr. Kozlowski thought it would be a good idea to incorporate not only the video but the static in Buckingham class in high school.
But was the expectation that students would go out and sell advertising?
That was the expectation that Mr. Kozlowski told us at the committee, that that's what was gonna happen. That's what he thought would be a good thing to do. I believe that I'm not sure, I think there might have been a working cost study, not the first time. It's a lot, and as the block party knows, that sponsorships are hard to come by. Not only are they being hit up by fundraising groups within our district, multiple. Yes, and it's just unfortunate that it played out that way, because Marty and I would have sold them in no time. We did. And I sell for them, and I know that it's not easy. It's not easy. And if it could be incorporated in the curriculum, that'd be great. That would give some kids some real.
There's a difference between including a class on how to sell or the attributes and skills it takes to sell versus going out as a 17 or 18-year-old and calling on an establishment to sell. There's principles of selling and there's the implementation. Two very distinct functions. And quite frankly, if I was a business owner and I had an 18-year-old kid on my company trying to sell me advertising things, like, hey kid, you're really cute, but you know what? It's features and benefits, that's how you sell. And kids don't know that. And you need to have a certain profession that's selling. And quite frankly, I don't think it's our function.
I'm done. But I agree. There was a time and a place, and that was before I had this position and other things, and that was good. I agree with you that, and there are several companies that do this, and I agree that it's not the administration position to do that. So we pay outfit to judge to tell us what fair market value would be, and then you pay a premium for that.
We pay no commission. Right now, we're getting no revenue. So if we had to pay a 30% commission, we get 70. And I don't know if that's the number, but right now, 100% of zero is still zero. 70% of something is something. So I personally would like us to look at outside firms that do, and I think if you call Whitnall, if you call Greendale, I think you'll find somebody that we can look at. I will commit to this board that I will contact our own advertising department where I work, who has a relative I think it's great in practice to teach students about marketing and selling and how you sell features and benefits and features and difference, etc. But to put them out on the street, I think it's unfair to them. Now, if they have a parent or an uncle as a company, we'll be glad to talk to them about that. But, let's be realistic.
To give them some practical.
But,
we have a contract with them, and they have a beautiful sign there.
unlike Nancy, I would.
Sure we could find some that.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what I want. Elaine, you had a comment?
Just a question, I would like to look at some good guidelines on how this would go, and you might wanna look at our policies. I couldn't find anything online that, that address this, maybe if there is.
We actually had some because we had to review it thoroughly before we contacted the state. What is acceptable and everything.
Yeah, we've got that, a policy on that. I thought it was more related to our program, selling advertising for the program, but that's all. We just wanna make sure that we're fair and consistent, and certain types of items are allowed, just all those guidelines.
Good point.
You know, but it, and I just want to say, it was actually, when the scoreboard was being discussed and it was to upgrade and everything, it really was discussed that this would be an opportunity for the students to, you know, give them some experience. And I agree, you know, they're not gonna be able to go maybe high end, but they could, get sales, you know, with some guidance. And I think it's just unfortunate because of the turnover that we've had with our teaching staff in that position that we haven't been able to do. I think there's potential for them to do like halftime event, you know, little things like when you're at that basketball game, and you know, you have somebody that's sponsoring $100 to a staff member scholarship or something, and do it. You know, just little things like that they can do, and get some sales and marketing experience. But I agree, we have to get someone in that position for a period of time up and running with the regular curriculum before we can do that. So it's just the timing has been.
I want to make sure our students are equipped with the right knowledge and the right skills they need. Before they Okay. More to follow on that. Number 7, comments from school board regarding agenda items for future consideration. Does anybody have anything they want to hear?
I do. I really like our tech director to bring something to the board in regards to the iPad initiative. Is there going to be costs? Are there not going to be costs? What are the parents who want out of these projects? I think we need to get that information out now. If there is going to be a cost, some parents may have to budget for it, and the sooner the better. If there's not, then we all look like all stars. But I think we really need to get the parents informed as soon as possible.
Anybody else? Anyone? Okay, hearing none. I would like a motion to adjourn to go into closed session. Oh, announcement, I'm sorry. Board member announcement.
I have one. This is, the recycling event is sponsored by the Health Current Public School. I believe I can pass this on. Check that right, and, they'll computers, televisions, laptops, toners, tape
That'd be
decks.
correct on television. Take off.
They'll do one television, one television for fax machines, cables, cords, hard drives, all that. And it's, Friday, June 21st and 17th.
The block party is meeting. When's our next meeting, Mike? July 24th? June 24th.
What are the dates of the block party?
And we need help. You know anybody that would like to volunteer, send them to Mike or Cheryl. There you go.
Hey, maybe we could package something on the scoreboard and the block party.
There you go.
Hey?
Daily double.
Hey, we got a deal for you. Want to buy a watch? A Rolex. Okay. Thank you for okay. Where's that going, right off. We're good. Thank you, Mike. Anybody else? Any other announcements? Hearing none. Thank you for my wife is here.
Well, I am a wife.
Yeah. I need a motion to adjourn in the closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 1925, 1CF. That's salary adjustments. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Do we need to take a roll call on this? Luann? Aye? Yes. Thank you, everyone. Oh, we're coming back. For those that want to break it. Yeah, what do you need, 5 minutes? Yeah. That'd be great. Yeah, thank you for remembering that. We're not missing anything. All right. We are back in open session.
Wait.
We're not back in open session? Really? Oh. Thank you, Richard. All right, item 11 is discuss, which we have, and take possible action on salary adjustments. Do we have a motion?
Okay, yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the salary adjustment for the Director of Instructional Technology to $85,000 and the Executive Director of Academic Achievement to $125,000, both salaries being effective on July 1st of 2013.
Second. Okay, any other discussion? If not,
Do they have to be together? They're not voted on separately?
She made the motion together.
make a motion together. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Aye.
All right, carried 6-1. Okay. Item number 12, taking action on the flexible spending plan. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to reopen the 2012 flexible spending account through DBS on a future date to be determined for a period not to exceed 30 days.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right. I'd like to have a hand count on this, please. All in favor of that motion and second, please raise their hand. All in favor of it. All opposed? Carries 4-3.
Motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn. Do I have a
Second.
second? We are adjourned. Good job.
Yeah.